Hello and welcome once again to another section on today's training. In this episode or in this section, you are going to learn how to install some basic HTML extensions or plugins that will enable you to work very fast and smart whenever you want to code. So without much ado, I'll go straight to the VS Code that we installed in the previous video, and I'll walk you through how to install some plugins or extensions. Okay, so in order for you to be able to install an extension or a plugin to your VS Code, which is the Visual Studio Code editor, you must first of all be able to install it from the previous video. And so I assume that now you have been able to install the VS Code on your computer. And so we are now going to install the extensions that we will need when we want to code in our VS Code editor. All right. So now for you to be able to install extensions, you can see from the far left here, we have the Explorer, we have the search, we have the source control, we have the run and debug, and then we also have extensions. Okay, but before we go to extensions, after you installed the VS Code in the previous video, I did not explain some things to you. So I will take this opportunity and then explain some things before we move on. All right. So now if you look at the upper right bar, or let me say the menu bar here, you can see we have file, we have edit, we have selection, they are all having a role that they play. If you come to the file, for instance, this is where you will have the access to save all your scripts that you are going to be writing. Because there is no script on the dashboard for now, the save and the save as are all disabled. Okay, so when we start writing our scripts, for instance this, or when we open something like this, because we have a script on our studio or dashboard, when we go to the save, it will be enabled. So remember, because there wasn't any script, that is why it was disabled. Okay, so you'll be able to save your work at this point from this place, the file. Also, we have a feature that is auto save. What this do is that in order not to be coming back after every line of code to come and save your work, you simply turn on the auto save. So everything that you are doing will automatically be saved without you coming to the file and then saving your project at any point in time. The benefit is that when there is light off or emergency, situation happens, you still have your work saved. So if you want to turn it on, you just click on it and then turn it on. Now I have turned it off. So if I want, I'll just click on it and then it will be enabled. All right, so that is the file. We also have the edit, but basically we don't do much here, which is the do, undo, all those things. We don't do much here, okay? So all that you'll be doing basically for now is at the file, the save and all the other things, all right? We don't run our project or debug our project in HTML from here. We will use the browser. And when we get there, you will understand. All right, so now back to the extensions. If you want to install the extension, just click on the extensions as I have indicated to you from the beginning. So you just click on the extensions and then you will see a lot of extensions coming up for you. All right, you will see a lot of extensions, but because you are working in HTML, you are going to be looking out for HTML extensions. Okay, you are going to be looking out for HTML extensions instead of other extensions, because every programming language has its own extensions. CSS, JavaScript, Python, they all have their extensions plugins. So we are going to look out for HTML. So you type HTML here, and then it will filter it out for you to get all the extensions for HTML. It's not all of them that you may actually need, but you need someone that will basically guide you. For instance, this HTML IntelliSense, you have to install it. And then you also have to install this one as well, which is HTML CSS support. Okay, then when you scroll down, we have HTML format or format HTML. You have to install as well. Then we have HTML format itself, and then you also need to install uh, HTML classes suggestions. You need to install that one as well. Then we have the HTML to CSS autocomplete. This one will help you, as you can see, when you just type the tag or syntax, it will just automatically complete it for you without having to type everything. Okay, but we'll get to that place, don't worry. So this point, you have to also install HTML class suggestions, and then you scroll down, we have this one, HTML tag wrapper. You have to also install that one as well. Okay, so now at this point, if you have been able to install all this, then we are good to go. So for you to be able to work with the extensions that you have installed, for you to be able to work in it, the first thing that you have to do is to end the VS Code or close the VS Code and then open it again. So after you have closed the VS Code editor, the extensions will take effect, and then from there you have access to all those extensions. Okay, and after from there you have access to all those extensions that you have installed. Okay, all right, so at this point we will end this particular session for here, but before you go, you have to make sure you close the HTML, or what's the name, the VS Code editor. As I was saying, you have to close it from here. And then if you close it from here, if it is the first time, you see that they will say VS Code extensions is something like installing. All right, then after that you can now open your VS Code editor again, and then you realize that the extensions all will take effect from there. So if you come to extensions, you see that you have some installed HTML extensions that will pop up in your VS Code editor. So when you see it like this without the install, it means that that particular extension has successfully been installed. This ones with the install means it has not yet been installed. This one, for instance, is installed. All right, so that is how to install VS Code extensions. See you in our next video, and have a nice day.